Okay, let's go.
Okay.
What am I supposed to say?
We're welcoming them.
Welcome to the 2019.
They can't see.
All right, I'm gonna just.
Where
I
am
got you. I'm gonna edit this.
You're gonna edit it.
Well, I'm gonna help you. Keep going.
All right. Welcome to the 2019 goal setting party. Thank you for being here with us. We've got a lot of people on here. We've got a lot of people in person. We've got Jake and Amber. We've got, I don't know if you know the guy, but he puts the hairspray and the hair and hairspray. Josh Coates is with us tonight. We've got a bunch to cover, and we will get going. So.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited about this time of year because while we all know that you can have a fresh start on any day, you don't have to wait for a Monday, you don't have to wait for the beginning of a new week or a beginning of the new month or even the beginning of a year, there is something that's special about a new year, about that new calendar, about that new planner, about knowing that whatever you did last year, good or bad, it doesn't define you. It doesn't make you who you are. It starts fresh now, today. Everything that happened last year, good or bad, just wipe it clean and know that you're going to make a decision today to move forward in your business and in your life and setting goals. So I'm really excited about setting goals and just really getting this party started.
Yeah, hi to our team too. Thanks for being on. This is so fun, and a huge thanks to Dean and Kelsey for inviting us to join in tonight. And yeah, as we were just chatting about, this time of year and setting goals, I think the one thing that I really wanted to just share is, don't feel like a failure no matter where you are right now. I think that one thing that's so important to remember is that the people who have success in this business have sometimes failed more often. Like we just every day are trying new things and doing different things, and some things work and some things don't work. And so, like we just every day are trying new things. So anyway, I just want to talk to, just kind of speak to anyone tonight who might be feeling a little discouraged. Maybe you just need something fresh. Hopefully tonight is that for you. I know just being around this group of people, even for just a few minutes, is energizing, and I hope that you can feel that energy as we go throughout the night. But it's a fresh year. I know we're so excited, and Jake's going to share just kind of the mindset that we're really trying to go with too in 2019.
Yeah. So hello everybody with the Ignition Mission. Hello everybody at Conquer Nation.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's cool. Hey, I just want to say, for all of you that are out there on a Sunday night taking time away from your families to prioritize your business, kudos to you. That is huge. That is what we are asking, if nothing else, for this upcoming year. And for those of you who are a part of the Ignition Mission, you notice that we've titled the page Ignition Mission 365. And for me, that's significant. I'm a big fan of Grant Cardone. If you guys have not read the 10X Rule, start reading it right now. And recently I was watching a video of Grant Cardone, and the dude owns his own charter plane. So he was talking about the tail wing of the plane. And on the tail wing, it says NO365GC. And he said that's not really significant to anybody other than him. And on the back, what it stands for is no one other than Grant Cardone 365 days a year. And something about that struck me, and that's all that I'm asking. You guys who have been pushed by me in the past, you'll appreciate this. That's all I'm asking for this next year. And the same thing that I would encourage anybody a part of Conquer Nation is for the next 365 days, can you make a commitment to yourself to show up each and every day? Can you make a commitment to being yourself authentically online for 365 days? And I promise you, if you do those things, everybody that's told you that you can't succeed, all the hiccups and ups and downs, the roller coasters that you've rode in your business, I promise can be washed away just by showing up and being authentic, doing the basics, doing what you need to do for 365 days this year. And the thing that's sweet about that is you guys get a clean slate in 36 hours or something like that? It is insane. But we are so excited for tonight. We're excited for Josh. We think it's pretty cool that we're here in Kansas City.
Yeah.
So we're excited to be with all of you guys tonight from here.
Well, I don't know how the heck I'm going to fill those shoes, but yeah, like Jake said, we're We are excited you guys are here. We are excited for the new year. There's a lot of people on this team, on Jake and Amber's team, on Lindsay's team, on Darla's team, that are really have the potential to unlocking some huge goals this year and some huge wins come 2019. I don't know if you guys have heard the new Elite program and the Road to Elite, but it is geared towards everybody gets to start over and everybody is starting from ground zero. So everybody has a chance at this and getting to where they want to be. But it all matters if you show up on day one, and if you show up on day 160, and you show up on day 365. So you have to show up, you have to get busy, and you have to get to work every single day. And if you do that, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. So tonight, the real purpose of tonight is to look back and reflect on what we did for 2018 so that we can have a starting point and move forward into the 2019 year. And so tonight, our goal is for you to come with a list of goals and just to dream as big as possible. And Josh is going to help us do that tonight. So with that, we're really excited to introduce Josh Coates. He probably doesn't need a big introduction, but he's pretty amazing. Do you want to introduce him?
Yeah, so
I know he does.
Anybody that doesn't know Josh Coates can Google him. Where's he at? Is he still here? He's back there making a lemonade. But anybody that doesn't know Josh Coates can Google him and figure out who he is. But he is the most inspirational person that I know. One of the most motivational people I know, and that if you need help in building your business, this guy is the guy to go to. He is the name within Beachbody to help people achieve their goals and come up with a clear path to get you there. And couldn't be more excited for Josh to come up. I asked him literally last minute to come join our combined teams to help us with this goal setting party, and without hesitation, he's like, "Yeah, dude, I'll sleep on your floor, and I will be there." And here he is. So if anybody doesn't know him, he's going to introduce himself, and we're going to get going, right?
Sure.
You got
Yes.
coffee?
Yeah.
I got coffee.
We'll put
All right.
him right
Ready
in
to
the
go.
We'll put him in front of the fireplace.
Hi guys, how's it going? Hello there. Okay, so I'm gonna come over here. We're gonna move you guys. 'Cause
Yep.
I don't want to speak to the corner of the room.
Yeah.
You guys know I like attention, so come over here. I can see people. Okay, so I'll try to shout so you can hear me on the laptop. It's really awkward for in person though. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it so much. I'm happy to be here. This is probably my favorite thing in the world to do. I feel like January 1, this is kind of a weird story, but I was in California for a Super Saturday one time. A couple of my friends were doing some drugs, and I was like, I get it. I get why people like drugs, because it's like, you're finally on my level. Like, they needed drugs to just like get on my wavelength. For me, that's just like Josh. So like January 1, I feel like, is when everyone finally gets on my level. I'm like, it's about fucking time. We're finally ready to do something here. Apologize if there's kids around. I'll try to keep it like PG-13. So did I use my one F-bomb? You only get one F-bomb in PG-13.
No, you get 6 in this house.
6, okay, good. I've got 6. Someone can tally them for me. But I love it because, no, I know it's cheesy. At the end of the day, every day is a fresh start. At any point, you can decide you want to do something bigger than life. You can decide to take control and you can decide like after a nap at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you want, or you can decide after accidentally watching Netflix for 8 hours that it's, oh shit, I need to like reset and get my life together. But there's something about January 1 that makes people, it's like, it's the one time of the year society is okay with us dreaming. And if I've learned anything about coaching people, is that we all are constantly fighting against some type of pre-programming that has been set in motion by other people, by the environment that we've been raised in, by what we have or haven't done in the past. And there's just something about January 1 when like everybody's cheering us on that it's that much easier to say, okay, I'm going to like actually do something with my life and not just complete 79 different television series on Netflix this year. If there was like continuing education, you know, like credit you could get for Netflix, America would be the most educated country by far. Unfortunately, we're the dumbest country in the whole freaking world because we have access to all of these things, and the only thing we figured out how to do is watch Netflix. Like Netflix sends me an email every day suggesting different things for me to watch, and it's always the same thing. Like, I'm like, is this really? Like, apparently we should have started Netflix. Like, what were we doing? Like, you could just tell people, check out this new episode, and their life is gone. I watch Netflix too, okay? I'm mostly just kidding, but kind of. So here's what I love about doing workshops like this is getting to talk to people and letting you kind of like, any of you ever felt like I love team calls and I love all this training, and it's really cool to sit and listen to someone else for like 2 hours, but sometimes like I want to talk. Sometimes I want to like get some stuff out. So we're going to do some of that tonight. I'm going to kind of set up some groundwork, and I'm going to let you guys do most of the talking, because I have found from coaching that when you are talking, some really magical stuff happens. And you guys will get to kind of like listen in and watch and see what happens. Even though you're obviously not going to get called out like people here will. It's really, really, really powerful to watch other people have those aha moments and those experiences. Kelly's been a part of groups with me where we just sit and like listen to people talk, and it's pretty powerful to like learn from what everyone else is going through. So the first thing that I want you to think about is this. I want you to think about these pins that you're holding in your hand. Some of you taking notes digitally, that's okay too, okay? But if you have a pin, okay, I want you to think about this for a second. I want you to think about the fact that every single one of us has one life, but we are always in control. Obviously, I'm not stupid. I know there are some situations we had no control of. If someone walks in and shoots up an elementary school, I don't for a second think that any human other than the guy with the gun was responsible for that, okay? But outside of craziness like that, okay? You can literally write whatever story you want with your life. Have you ever thought about that before? Have you ever thought about the fact that if you've got 40 more years to live, 50 years to live, 60 years, whatever that is, however many years that is, you got to drink Shaco, so it's probably like 80 more years, okay? Unless you keep drinking the way you're drinking tonight. You literally can write the story you want to live out. Now, how many of you in this room, when you were like 10, 15, 20 years old, thought that where you're sitting today would be the story you would have at this point in your life? How many of you actually have the thing that you're like, yeah, when I was 15 years old, I wrote this like magical Disney style story, and it included what I currently have? Unfortunately, for like 98% of people, the life you're currently living looks very little like the story you would have wrote. And it's really sad to me, because over time, when we've written this story over here and we're getting this kind of life and this kind of results, something in us starts to think we're not really in control. And we start to think that other things in our life are really in control. And we start to say bullshit like, well, maybe I'm just not smart enough. Maybe I'm just not pretty enough. Maybe I'm not like as outgoing as that other person. Maybe I'm not this. And we start to basically excuse ourselves from being the author of our own book. And we begin to take the pin that I believe we all have. It's called free will. If you don't believe in free will, I don't know why the hell you're even here. Like, why would you try to sell shakes online if you don't believe in free will? You're here because you believe in free will. You believe that you have the power to make some type of a change in your life. And if you don't believe it, you've at least believed it enough to tell other people that. Correct? How many of you tell your challengers that every single day? You have the power to change anything you want. People say, yeah, but you don't get it. I'm busy. You say bullshit. It's a 20-minute workout. People say, I can't afford it. You say, bullshit. You buy Starbucks every day. Correct? And no matter what excuses your challengers give you, you're like, And then you sit around and make the same excuses about your business and try to pretend that you don't have control over your business the same way they try to pretend they don't have control over their health. And so my main goal is to just get you to understand you always have the pen. The question is, are you taking the time to write down what you actually want out of life? And then plan your day and your month and your year and your life based around the story you really want. I've been on coaching call after coaching call after coaching call after coaching call where someone tries to tell me they don't know how to recruit. When someone tells me they don't know how to recruit, I know BS is just flying out right now. Because I could ask anyone in this room, how do you think you should recruit? What would be the best plan to implement? And every single person in this room would tell me the exact same plan. Post about the coaching opportunity and invite people to join your team. It's that simple. Now, some people like try to make it complicated and be like, well, I don't know. Maybe like if you use the Skyline filter and maybe if you tag 30 people in each of your stories, then maybe. But it's not that complicated. It's never been that complicated. For as long as a sales industry has existed, sales equals talk to enough people to purchase items. That's it. Now, of course, there are some other things you should learn so you're not the weirdo who just sent me a message on Instagram today that's like, hey, bro, I like your profile. You should DM me sometime because we should connect because I think blah, 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 blah. And it goes on for like 8 paragraphs. I'm like, that's the worst. No one's going to respond. But you know what? It's crazy. Even if that moron messages enough people with that message, someone will respond and be like, oh, for real? Like, you thought I would be a good fit? Oh, okay, cool. Like, that would be great. Okay. Like, if you message enough people, even an idiot can sell. And unfortunately, we got a lot of really kind, nice people that aren't willing to be as aggressive as some dumb idiots out there. And so what you do is over time, you start to convince yourself, like, I don't really have the pin. It's not really mine. I'm not really in control. Someone else is in control. Because every single time you make an excuse, you are basically claiming that you don't have control. And if you don't have control, why are we here, guys? If you don't believe you have the power to change your own life, what are you doing here? I mean, I know there's like free drinks, pretty good reason to be here. But other than that, like, why did you drive to Kansas City tonight? We're not in Kansas City, where are we?
Shawnee,
yeah. Why did you drive here tonight if you don't believe you have the power to change something? So either you do believe you have the power to change or you don't believe you have the power to. It's one or the other. And I really think that you do believe you have the power to change. You've just put down the pin. And I think that too many people are handing off the pin to someone else. Maybe you've handed off the pin to your past. Maybe some of you, like going into 2019, this is what I hear all the time. Well, you know, I wanted to do this, but I got an email today. I did not ask people to ask questions. I just said, email me back and let me know what your goal is. And of course, the first person emails back, well, let me tell you why I'm struggling to set goals, blah, blah, blah. Could you give me some advice? I'm like, I didn't say I was going to give everybody free coaching sessions. I just want to know your goals. But of course, her question is, I've had this same goal year after year. And I don't know if I should even set that goal because I don't even know if I'm worthy of that goal now because I didn't hit it last. Like, who am I? I didn't even hit this goal. Why should I set this goal? Did anyone ever say that you had to be some form or version of worth to write a story? Has anyone ever watched a Disney movie and been like, man, that movie, I get it. Little Mermaid was great, but the guy who wrote it, did you hear he's a dick? Did you hear about that? I hear the dude is just an asshole. Has anyone ever said that? Or are you like, that was a magical movie? Which one do you do? Do you judge the writer or do you judge the movie? Why is it when it comes to our life, we try to find every way we can to try to decide that we're not a worthy writer? Who said you had to be worthy to pick up a pen and write on a piece of paper? Who said, where did the word worthy come from? I really want to know where this word, because at some point we created this word. Because at its very root, I personally believe, if you don't believe in this, you do not want to be my friend. But I personally believe that every single human born into existence has the same exact worth. How many of you would tell your kids, you know what, you disobeyed too many times today. That's it. You're not my kid anymore. Sometimes we're tempted to say that. But do you all have kids in here that disobey, disrespect, say things they shouldn't say, sometimes get bad grades? Everyone? How many of you would take a bullet for your kid? How many of you would run to a burning building for your kid? Tells me that worth has nothing to do with behavior. It has nothing to do with what you did yesterday or today or what you might do tomorrow. It just has to do with the fact that you were born. That's it. On a human level, we are all the same. And to not believe in that is honestly sexist and racist, just in a different way. Because whatever lie you've made up to decide you are no longer worthy is just as bad as being sexist or racist. If you decided, well, I'm not outgoing enough. Okay, so like introverts are some like lower form of human? Is that what you've decided? I'd be willing to bet you got a kid or two that's an introvert. You're going to tell them they can't grow up to chase their dreams because they're introverts? I'm really sorry. Apparently the world is just run by outgoing assholes and we're the quiet kind people, so we can never amount to anything. I'm so sorry. Would you tell your kid that? How about, you know what? I'm just not one of those people who like listens to 90s hip hop and dances on Instagram stories before my workouts. I don't know if I can be successful because apparently like I'm a loser. I don't know if you guys noticed that that's like the thing now. If you like jamming out to some 90s hip hop, like some 90s gangster rap and dancing with your unicorn juice. And if you don't do that, you're like nobody right now. So apparently I suck because I listened to like Nirvana in the 90s. I was like just like a weird grungy white kid. There's no hope for me. Does that really matter?
Mm-mm.
Does it matter? Does it matter or did you decide that you weren't willing to put in the work? And so you made up a story to give yourself permission to quit before you ever start. I want you to all write this down. Our limiting beliefs are constantly looking for a story to justify our fears and our excuses. Our limiting beliefs are constantly looking for a story to justify our fears and excuses. If you think there's something you're missing, guess what you'll do? You will walk around looking for everyone that has that thing to be successful. So if you think that you're not outgoing enough, you know what you'll do? If you think you're too introverted, you will literally go follow all of the most outgoing coaches in the to prove that your story's true. If you think you haven't lost enough weight yet, you know what you'll do? You will go follow the scrawniest, skinniest Beachbody coaches that exist to try to convince yourself that only the skinny ones can succeed. If you think that only the blonde coaches can succeed, you'll go follow every blonde coach and you'll say, I knew it. I'm a brunette. Apparently only blondes can do this thing. Whatever it is, whatever your story is that you make up, you will go manifest that thing because you always find what you seek. It's a universal principle. What we seek is what we find. Grant Cardone says it this way. Excuses are never the reason. They're just a revision of the facts that you make up in order to make yourself feel better about what you did or didn't do. I love me some Grant Cardone too. Let me say that again as Dean breaks everything in his house. Excuses are never the reason. They're just a revision of the facts that you make up in order to make yourself feel better about what you did or didn't do.
Yes.
So here's what I want to do. Tonight I want to talk about what you really want. Not about what you think you're worthy of, not about what you think you're capable of, not about what you think you can do based on what you did last year. not on what you can do based on how many PS coaches you have that are working or discount or non-working or went active or might reactivate in the next 9 months. I just want to talk about what you want. This is how we're going to pick up the pen tonight and write out the life that you want, which starts out with this year, but it goes way beyond just this year. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write or type whatever you got on you. I want you to think about this. Okay? 10 years from now, 10 years out, you can have any life you want. Literally anything. There's nothing standing in your way. You can just reach out and grab it. If you could have anything you want, tell me what would be different about your life. Tell me about what kind of money you would be making. Tell me what kind of vacations you would go on. Tell me where you would travel to. Tell me, would you be working? Would you not be working? Would your spouse be working? Would they not be working? Would they be working but maybe not at the shitty job they have now, maybe doing whatever they want somewhere else? Tell me what life looks like in 10 years if you could have it any way you wanted. Take 2 or 3 minutes to write that down. You too. Okay? You got 2 or 3 minutes to write it down. Yes, I'm looking at you. I can't see the names. Okay, let's start on this side.
We're gonna start with me. Just kidding.
I need a good crier to start.
You see, I know.
What did you write?
So the first one I put is just less stress over money. Just like a lot of people in here, financial freedom is what we would love to have in our family. No more 9 to 5. And I don't have to do that because I'm a nurse, so I could go back to 3 days a week, but I choose to do a 9 to 5 right now. And just always being available for my family whenever I can. And I can't do that right now. So.
What's it look like right now?
Mom and dad at work from 7:30 to 5:30, me. Husband coming home at close to 8. So I'm ready for one of us to at least be home with our family.
So what is
we have 3 girls and 1 on the way.
Okay.
So.
What things are you currently missing out on?
My baby's grown up. Seeing them walk, seeing them learning to talk, their first words. Just their hugs all day long.
So 10 years from now,
Yeah.
you could have any life you wanted. Mommy is available to do what?
Take my girls to ballet or tap. Have my husband coach a basketball team. Be home at 3, 4 o'clock. And then just give them what I didn't have as a kid.
Okay, next.
So a little bit of the same thing, but in 10 years, I'd like to be at home, not working. At least one of us, preferably both of us, not working.
Don't give me this like.
Okay, I'm just gonna say it.
This is
One of us not working.
Whatever life you want.
Okay, neither one of us working at home. So we have 2 boys, and I know they're gonna be in sports. It's gonna be a lot of, going to games and stuff like that. My husband travels with his job, so a lot of times he's not at home. So a lot of times I'm holding down the fort. So in 10 years, I would like for both of us to be at home, so we can be more present with the kids. I'd like to have both of my kids college. I was going to say somewhat. Say that, but can we just have it all?
Say all of it.
And then I would like for our savings, I would like for it to be enough to, I keep wanting to say somewhat, and I don't know why, but not that we would retire anytime soon, but just enough that if we could, we're good. Yeah.
I like it.
10 years from now, I want to be able to give my kids college completely paid for. My husband is in school right now, for a long time, med school, so I want no debt from that. We've always talked about having a vacation home that we can just go, and not having a job to where I can just go. Another big thing for me is he hypothetically will be making decent money.
Mhm.
I want to be able to share with my parents, and they've worked so hard their entire lives. I want to be able to say, enjoy my kids,
Right.
be the grandparents that I didn't have,
Yeah.
and enjoy them because you deserve it. So
I love it. Kelly.
Matt and I both retired from our corporate jobs. He wants to do something that's like less stressful. He's been there for like 18 years. I want to send Kaylee to school debt free. I want to have vacation homes, plural.
There we go.
Plural.
And freedom, because Kaylee wants to. She is a free spirit and her own person. And if she has it her way, she won't be living in Kansas. So have the ability to, she won't like it, but just go wherever she goes. So that's 10, and like still be debt free.
Make sure she signs her lease before you go chase her.
I know,
She's
right?
Okay, next.
And now I feel like I'm picking from everyone else. I'm like, that was a good one.
This is the beauty of surrounding yourself.
It's like I
with
think I
big
made it too
thinkers.
small. Like it's okay to be big about it, right? But my husband Sean, who's back there hiding. Hi.
What's up, John?
So I feel like with everything I've gone through post college, he has supported me 150,000%, if that's a percentage. But I just want to be able to retire him. Like he has put so much into our family and doesn't get to be with us as much, and I just want to give that to him too. So that's my first goal, and then alongside to send our kids to college debt free. And then I'm totally stealing yours about your parents because I just feel like they've done so much for us. So being able to give that back to them.
I like it. Next.
Okay, so it would definitely be no more money stress. Like I feel like our whole 14 years of marriage has been nothing but stress on our kids. Like we put them through sports and stuff, but it's like really scary every time. We would definitely be living in Florida. I'm jealous of them back there. Just to see them play in the sand every night would be like, oh my God, it would be everything. And then have a home we love. Like we hate our house. Like our kids hate our house. We just sort of have a home we love, and then just like friends surrounding us that like build us up. Like that's what this has really done for, I know me definitely. Like having this support system and stuff is like, oh my God, so incredibly freeing, and it's just something like you can't even explain. So that would definitely be like my 10 years of like perfectness.
Okay. I like it. This way.
For sure debt free, and be able to support all of my children in private school. And then we really want to foster, and I think bringing my husband home to where he only had to work a certain amount of time instead of full time, having him there. Because bringing kids in who need, and I know she gets this with me, but kids who need a home. Yeah. And I want my husband there too.
I like it.
We're on a very similar journey. 10 years from now, our kids will be in middle school. We're both teachers, and we are in the middle of a foster care process. So to be able to continue to provide service, to take that, what we have earned and accumulated, to provide service to other kids, other families, maybe still serving in the teacher industry, maybe not, but to be able to give back to what we've built.
Dig it.
However,
Let's hear from some dudes. I don't usually get to have dudes at my workshops. No pressure. Your answer don't have to sound anything like theirs. Just like, but if you could have whatever you wanted in 10 years, you know, you might say, I want a jet, like whatever you want.
I mean, 10 years from now, we've both talked about obviously foster care and taking in more kids. We want to help others, and we have some amazing family, grandparents, and we've talked about moving near to family and having kids around grandparents and all that stuff. So 10 years from now, I for sure see us moving closer to family and having kids grow up. I mean, I would love to retire and let her stay home. I can't retire because she'll kill me. Together every single day. Can't happen. So
Yeah, it's important to remember. Not every dude wants to retire.
Yeah.
But you can hand him $100,000 and go say, "Hey, go start a garage."
Yeah.
Or go
Start
do
your
whatever the
own
hell you
business.
want.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like the financial freedom, obviously,
Correct.
to have
Right.
that ability. But I'll probably still work.
Yeah.
Still coach, still teach, all that stuff. And just enjoy impacting youth, not necessarily just my own.
Right.
Yeah. 10 years. Hopefully that's a possibility.
I like it. What do you think, man?
Well, like him, I'll be working.
Uh-huh.
So, even providing a little bit more financial freedom, I'm more confident I'll be doing that. But I'll still be working. That's just who I am, whatever. But probably a little bit more. Definitely be living somewhere different, whether that's farther away from family or not. But I'm more or less on what's best for the family, different areas. Probably more exciting vacations, stuff like that. But for the most part, just keeping good goals and striving to complete those, throughout that time.
There you go. Okay, let's come to the back row over here. Yes,
Me.
you.
Okay.
Yes, you.
Oh, I thought he said, I feel like I'm in a little bit different age bracket because my kids in 10 years are going to be much older than yours. I moved away from my family when we came here about 6 years ago, and my family just, they're tethered to their jobs and commitments like that there, including my parents still. And I mean, my kids in 10 years will be in their 20s and 30s, and I want to be able to be where they are. I want to be able to go to them. I want to be able to be with them when they need me or when I just want to show up. So that's the thing I want in 10 years is to be able to follow them, because my family really hasn't been able to do that for us and for my family. So that's the big thing. And the other thing is just to sustain my own good health, because I watch people in my family that suffer with so many ailments and bad health and obesity and all of those things. And that's why I started this. And the big thing for me is to sustain where I am now and to keep my health for as long as I can. So that's really the most important thing to me, and to follow my kids.
Okay. Next.
For me, we love to travel, and so every year we always, plan out our vacations, but we always have like 4 more that we want to go on, but we can't because we can't afford it. So I think that's one of the main things, is just being able to pick up and leave for a weekend if we want, take the kids and just go on vacations. And I also want to own a house somewhere, vacation home. My husband would love to quit corporate America someday and own like a lawn serving business. So go cut grass for a living. So, okay. But yeah, he would love to do that. So retire him from corporate America and then have like a debt-free, no house payment, anything like that.
I'll say out loud that I struggle always doing this because I feel like I'm not being grateful enough for what we have. I was in a position not many years ago where sending my kid to a dance class wasn't something we were able to do, and we're wildly in that position to be able to do it now. So when I, talk about having multiple homes or something like that, it almost feels not grateful enough for being in the space that we're currently in. So I didn't maybe write as much as I wished.
Why?
because I'm just so happy where we are now. I feel like if I had
So
a
you're
bigger
not-
house or multiple
so you're not
houses.
ungrateful?
I'm so sorry, what?
So you're not ungrateful?
I am grateful.
So you're
Not-
ungrateful.
not ungrateful.
So how is wanting to have more than what you currently have?
Because there are things. So I don't think a different, like we have a boat and we have a space on the lake. So different sand isn't any different. I still get to watch my children enjoy. So if I dreamed of living in a different state or something like that, it seems like it would just be.
Okay, so let me ask you this. How many other people are enjoying the sand or the boat or the house?
In my family, on my team, in the world.
Other than you?
A handful.
Handful.
Yeah.
How many people do you know?
Many handfuls.
Okay. How many boats can you buy for other people when you only have enough money to buy one? for
Okay,
yourself?
okay, I like that.
How many houses?
Okay.
I mean, like this. That's the thing. Is the beauty of here's the problem with society is not that we don't care about other humans. The problem with society is that most of us never create enough success to ever be significant toward anyone else.
I love that word.
Because if all the money, you say, well, I got a house and I got a boat and I got a car. Awesome. The person next to me is starving.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is when you only have enough money to pay for your house and your car and your boat, you don't have enough to take care of the orphanage you want to build in Africa or India or the Philippines. You only have enough to make yourself happy.
Okay, I really
And to
like
me,
that.
That's literally the worst place you could ever be. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're in that, Jim Collins wrote a book called Good to Great, says good is the enemy of great. Because when you have just enough to be good, sometimes you miss out on greatness. Because you didn't realize there's a whole nother level you could have gone to that would have gone from success to significance. I could have enjoyed life, or I could have created something so huge that I literally changed the world. And I have my own living room full of people sitting around saying, I just want to retire my mom and dad. My mom and dad are 70. And you say, how much do they need? Not much. Honestly, they have a small house and they get some stuff from the government. Honestly, with a couple $100,000, my parents could retire for the next 10 years. And you say, cool, here's your check. Go retire your mom and dad. Now make me a promise that you'll work your ass off to go write the check for somebody else since I wrote the check for you. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think there's such thing as having enough. It doesn't exist. Because there's 313 million people just in the United States. I don't remember what the population of the world is. I used to know it's, 13 billion, something. It's a lot of people. You know what I mean? And statistically speaking, the top 2% have the kind of life we're talking about right now. Which means that 98% are sitting around, honestly, not even thinking about what we're thinking about today. No one's even taught them how. We can't teach them how. If I don't create this life for myself, I'm not even sitting here teaching you how to do it. Once I created it for myself, now I have the ability to then say, hey, look, it worked. Now let me teach you how to pick up the pin. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
So, on one hand, you may be right in the sense that I got enough for me and my family. We're good, but you don't have enough for everyone else, which is why we got to take the dream to the next level, which is honestly the best place in the world, because this is where significance happens. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, I really, really like that. I just wrote that what I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel it differently where stuff doesn't provide that space, but I think I would feel those things if I was contributing and offering a life of
So
significance.
now tell me
that's
what
great.
kind of contributions you want to make to the world.
Well, I feel like I should have an orphanage. Yeah, that's a great question. I suppose my right in front of me focus has been the children in my home, right, raising them up to be good human beings. But beyond that, I don't know where I'd like to contribute and thrive. That's a great question.
So that's what I want you to think about, okay? And I want that to be your group. Like
10 years from now, I could be sitting in a room full of people that I helped to have the house and the boat. And to have, if you really listen to most people's problems, the reason finances is such a rough thing is not because we're all a bunch of materialistic girls living in a material world. It's because it puts so much stress and pressure on you that you don't have that freedom to be there for your kids the way you want to be there, right? You're on vacation and you want to be like present with the kids, excited about the roller coaster, but you can't help but think about that roller coaster just cost you $75. You don't know how you're going to eat when you get home. So now all of a sudden, instead of enjoying the roller coaster with your kid, you're like cussing under your breath and you're like looking around and you're stressed out and your kids are going, why do my parents suck so bad? My parents never have fun. It's because of stress that sometimes we live with #adulting, right? And so I want you to think about, how could I remove that stress from others? How could I create something so big that I can help other people to not have to feel that stress? And maybe this session will be good for you just to hear that. I mean, out of this many people in the room, we have found one that isn't living with that stress. So you walk into Target, you're probably, I think about this sometimes, I really do. And I don't mean it like in any type of arrogant way, but sometimes I'm in the checkout line and I'm like, I wonder if I'm the only person checking out right now that isn't worried about what this costs me. I wonder because for my whole adult life before my business took off, that was my life. I was in the Target. Well, shoot, I wasn't going to Target. I was like at Walmart. I was like, I wish I was at Target. Yeah. Walmart had the lower prices. So I had to make that money count, right? I wish I was at Target with people drinking Starbucks, buying a new sweater, buying a new ugly sweater for Christmas. My God, I can't even afford a sweater unless an ugly sweater, right? So it's just something to keep in mind. Let that go. Okay? That somewhere out there's someone wishing they could afford Okay, next.
Well, in 10 years, I will be 50 years old. So I have 3 kids, and they have bigger dreams than I ever had. And so that's what I put, that I, kind of similar to Amy, that wherever they are, I want to be able to be there. Yeah. So in 10 years, even my baby, she'll be out of college or in college by then. And so I want to be able to be wherever she is.
Yeah.
My mom works a very labor-intensive job, and so she misses out on a lot, and I don't want to have to do that.
Love it. All right, coming to the back. We got one more dude to hit up.
Oh, me?
Oh,
yes. Awesome. All right.
me.
So you actually kind of touched on what I was thinking about was I know my wife had said, get me retired. From a corporate standpoint, that sounds great. Because realistically, what I look at, I'll be working, but mine's going to be more of a philanthropy side of things.
Yeah.
I work with individuals that have high net worth in an advisory capacity. I'd like to actually bring it down a little bit to those with significant life events.
Yeah.
I work with those that need help with money management going forward, because it's easier to work with somebody from the beginning stages and build up wealth than it is to talk about other significant life events that take place like death and then trying to reallocate assets. So realistically, that's where I'd like to be. It's more of a philanthropy side, just helping others with financial wellness.
I love that. Can I ask this question? How many of you, if you had the dream life you're talking about 10 years from now, would say, you know what? I would do so many more things for my community and the world around me if I had that kind of financial and time freedom. How many of you say that? Mm-hmm. And that's why I really don't think that there's such thing as selfishness as far as when it comes to setting goals and wanting more in life. Because I've yet to find a single human that's like, oh no, I just spent it on myself. Like I haven't found anyone that's ever said that. Like all of us, I think, in our deepest heart, want to do what this guy's talking about. Like honestly, I work with a bunch of rich dudes. Good for them, but like I see a whole bunch of other people that need this more. You know what I'm saying? Like, sure, my one-on-one clients usually, yes, have very large incomes and are totally fine financially, okay? And I love working with them, of course.
thankful that I have them to work with. But I also create all these training groups and webinars, books, podcasts, free resources for all the people that were who I was 5 years ago, trying to figure out how in the world to pay my bill. Having a guy drive by my house every single week, taking a picture to make sure someone lived there because we're 3 months behind on mortgage. And it's embarrassing as fuck when the guy drives by taking pictures of your house. The first time you're like, what's this guy doing? What? 2 bucks.
Got you up 3 left.
But you know, but the reality of it is it's really hard to think about how to make a difference in the world. It's really hard to think about the difference you want to make in the world when a guy's driving by to take a picture of your house to make sure you still live there. Correct? So let me ask you this question. If, I want you to imagine for a second, you showed up for your business 365, like we were talking about earlier. Not just for this year, but 10 years in a row. How many of you could say, Josh, I honestly feel like if I showed up for my business the way I'm supposed to, like the way I know it, like not the way I have been, but like the way I know I'm supposed to on a daily basis, and I did the stuff that they've taught me to do. Maybe I don't like dance the gangster rap on my Insta stories, but I get on there and I'm transparent, I'm real. If I did that every day for 10 years, and I'm not talking about 12 hours a day, I'm talking like 4 hours a day for 10 years. How many of you say, Josh, I don't know if I could get 100% of that, but honestly, I feel like I could get like 60 or 70% of what I just said if I were willing to put in 10 years worth of effort. Raise your hand. I've asked this question at like 20 retreats in the last 2 years. And every single person I talk to feels the same way. Honestly, if I did put in the work, I really feel like that could be a reality. And yet, we still have this thing called the 2%. Now, 100%, well, let's say 98%. I'm sure there's 2% that signed up with some jackass and never even got a welcome email or whatever. But 98% of you have the exact same training as everybody else. 98% of you, if I asked you, what are you supposed to do on a daily basis, could tell me. In fact, you could probably tell me better than I could tell you, and I'm the one that trains all of you. You probably know better than me. I don't get paid because I know what I'm doing. I get paid because I make people do it. Like, that's it. You probably know better than me. Difference is I made somebody do it. So why do we have this 2% if 100% or at least 98% feel strongly that they could create this dream life? I think it's 2 things. First thing is the stuff that you just told me, you only think about once a year in January. Once a year, you pull out a pen and a notepad and 7 different highlighters and 9 different tabs for your notebooks. And freaking, I don't know, Chalene Johnson push journal and a Grant Cardone 10X journal and a self journal and I don't know what else there is. I named all of them that I have. He said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this thing, and you spend like 30 days writing down your dream and how amazing it would be and how awesome it would be. But by Valentine's Day, statistics say, I think it's 86% of people have given up on their New Year's resolution. By Valentine's Day. Everybody just having so much sex in February that they already forgot about their New Year's resolutions. I mean, I get a little more like intimate in person. I apologize. Sorry. So, sorry. So our first problem, guys, is we don't think about who needs us and how bad they need us often enough. Everything that you guys just told me was about your kids and your spouses. Correct? Do you guys agree? Kids and spouse. Did everyone hear that? Everyone else hear that? Kids, spouses, kids, spouses, kids. I didn't hear anyone that was like, well, first I'd get a Lamborghini, and then after that I would go to Prada, of course, and then, like, no one even said that. I didn't hear a single person mention a pair of shoes or a car. I heard some houses. I heard vacations. I heard retired spouse. It was all kids. And how many of you want vacation homes for your kids, for your spouse? Correct? I'm just going to get real. Can I get real? I mean, like, even if you say no, I'll still get real. What the hell is our problem? That we say we care this much about our kids and our spouse, but for whatever reason, we only act like it 1 month out of the year. Like, do we really care about our kids and our spouse? Or was that a lie? I'm just being totally real, because at the age of 29, I finally looked myself in the mirror and said, here's the thing, bro. Dudes driving by your house every week taking pictures, that's your own damn fault. It's not your kids' fault. They obviously can't pay any bills. It's not the government's fault. Last time I checked, it's like not their job to pay my bills. If they do, cool. But they didn't stop me from creating a better life. Last time I checked, we got at least enough freedom to create your own Facebook account and send people messages, right? Last time I checked, the only person that's got you stuck where you're at is you. Now, there may be some past stuff that sucked. I'm not denying that. We've all been through some shit. Okay? There may be some present stuff that sucks. But the reason you're sitting where you're sitting, that's on you. You're a grown-ass adult. That's my new favorite hashtag. Hashtag grown-ass adult. So at some point, we have to decide, do I really love my family, or do I just like to say it? Do I really want to give them their best life ever? Or do I want to pass along my demons, my limiting beliefs, my problems to them? Because we are all a product of our environment. Why is Beachbody powerful? Gives you a new environment, doesn't it? How many of you remember the first time you tried to work out? For me, it was a DVD back then. There wasn't this like online Amazon, Netflix library of thousands of workouts. It was a DVD, and you put the DVD in and it kicked your ass. Does anybody remember their first ass kicking? Anybody remember that? Yeah, it was rough. But this environment of community gave you the support, and you showed up day in and day out until that's just your normal day. How many of you wake up in the morning, you throw, I mean, for me personally, I put on my compression undies first thing, that way I know it's a ball game. Like, you don't put on your compression undies to just, I mean, they're $40 for these underwear. If you're going to put them on, work out, right? I put those on, I know it's game time. Drink my Energize, now it's really game time. You can't put on compression underwear and drink Energize and do anything other than work out. Correct? It's my new life. So here's the thing. If that's not your life to wake up and do your business every single day, it's just because you haven't taken the same amount of time to change. You know, you've got the environment, you've got the same environment, you've got the same opportunity to make the change. You're just not putting your compression underwear on every day. You've got the same chance. You just haven't put in the work that it takes. And one of the main reasons is because you're not thinking daily about who you're fighting for. I would love to see for a second the mom who could see a video of her kids 20 years from now having the exact same issues that you're struggling with right now, that would try to tell me, I don't know how to invite, I don't know what to say, I don't even know what to do, I don't know, do I like use this filter or that? Show me that mom. Show me the mom who wouldn't be ready to kick some ass if she saw a video of her own kids 20 years from now struggling with the same thing she's struggling with. So one, you forgot who you're fighting for. 2, you've got a voice. You've got a voice in your head that's created. Now, maybe you created it. Maybe your parents created it. Maybe your spouse created it. I don't know who created it. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. What matters is figuring out what that voice is. We all have a voice telling us that we can't get the thing you wrote down because of whatever that is. And that's the thing that I want to find out more than anything tonight. First of all, what do you want? Second of all, why don't you already have it? And the only reason you don't have it is because there's a voice in your head that you haven't learned how to shut up yet. That's trying to tell you you can't have it. Now, such and such, they can have it. That's fine, blah, 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 blah. But I can't have it because of. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about your story, where you want to be 10 years from now, what it is you want to have, your ideal life. And now I want you to tell me, in your best mean girl voice, why you don't think you can actually have it. I know most of you told me, yeah, if I worked hard for 10 years, yeah, I could have it. But now, let's be honest. When I challenged you to write that stuff down, at first you were like, I could never have this because, tell me what's that voice say? Write it down. I want to hear it. Whatever reason you have in your head that you are not worthy or capable of that goal. We'll give them 1 sec to get out of the bathroom and grab their water. I'm going to grab my water real quick. You guys stay put. I don't want no 20 people lined up in the bathroom. You're online.
Do you want me to get your No. I'll get your water. It's almost out. Where's your cup? This wine. Red wine. Casey, how much have you been there? There's your glass.
Okay, let's chat. What are you doing? What are you doing hiding in the kitchen? What's going on? We're gonna go the other way this time. Give you a little bit of a break.
I didn't even write anything down.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Oh.
I mean, that's okay. What do you think about? Go ahead.
I'm gonna make it happen. The mean girl. I have a mean girl.
What's that mean girl look like? What'd she say? When did she pop up?
Probably, I think I can connect with Darla a little bit and just being content with having like enough. Like knowing there's people that don't have what I have. Why am I not being grateful?
Right.
Why do I need to strive for XYZ amount of money? But like you hit the nail on the head with, you can help more people. And so,
good.
So I don't know. Like I felt like all these things I wrote down in 10 years. I'm like,
I can do those things.
Yeah.
So
I love it. Well, that's cool. We already hit your mean girl. Your mean girl tries to use the word. And so give me, what was the word again? Content?
Yeah.
It's my least favorite
I
word
know.
in the entire dictionary because I feel like you only got that word if you grew up in a church like I did. And you found it in the Bible and took it completely out of context.
Yeah.
Because nowhere in the Bible does it talk about staying poor and not helping people.
No, I agree.
Like, where did this word content come from? There was like one scripture where it used this one word, and we created this entire theology around it so that we could basically stay comfortable.
I don't think we should be comfortable.
Agreed.
We're not.
So here's what I want you to do. What's an affirmation that you can tell yourself every single time Mean Girl pops her head up and says, why are you being selfish? What's something you can say?
Help me out.
I'll give you mine if I can reuse it.
Okay.
Significance over success.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm choosing significance over success because why? Why is it important to you to have significance?
Because it makes a difference in someone else.
Okay.
You're serving someone else.
So there's your affirmation.
Write that down.
Somebody get her a margarita.
She has one. She's just not drinking it.
So here's the thing. It's one thing to find your limiting belief. It's another thing to have a plan of attack. If you don't have a plan of attack, you will literally wake up for January and you'll be so awesome and you'll be so amazing. But here's the thing. The thing with our pre-programming is exists for a reason. That idea wouldn't be there unless someone else had literally planted it in us over and over and over and over and over until it became a new concrete in our life. Like the foundation of this house is a whole lot harder to screw up than one of these windows or walls, right? Kids are gonna run up and down these stairs all over the place. They're gonna break some stuff, right? That's not gonna like hurt the foundation. Like that's what it was made for, right? So the thing with our limiting beliefs is it's something that someone literally cemented into us. You're not gonna change that by having one good session with Josh and having a couple margaritas and deciding that 2019 is gonna be my best year ever. Josh said so. That's not gonna do it. You have to put in whatever work it takes to replace an old foundation with a new foundation. I'm like not a construction guy. I'm like not a dude's dude at all. I apologize. But if you just watch like 2 fixer-upper shows, you'll find out real quick. Cracked foundation is like the hardest thing to fix. Like foundation issues are literally the most expensive thing and they take the most time to fix. This guy's nodding his head. Okay, good. So I'm on the right. I'm on the right path. So when your foundation is screwed up, limiting belief, it takes that much more work and energy to fix. And that's why people get on calls and tell me, well, I don't know how to recruit. Because that's a whole lot easier than saying I'm really insecure and I don't know how to get over my own challenges and my own self to do the thing I know how to do. Correct? That's the foundational problem. You're saying I don't know how to recruit. You know how to recruit. You listen to like 90 national wake-up calls. If you don't know how to recruit at this point, you're just an idiot. You should just give up. Okay? Like you have no hope. That's not the problem. The problem is the foundation. You got to really work to fix it so that a year from now you're sitting here and the thing that you tell me tonight is no longer a problem. You're like, oh, that's fine. However, now I got this other thing because I've grown, and that's the thing. Grant Cardone says, new level, new devil. There'll be a new thing waiting for you, and that's fine. That's just part of life. You learn how to redo it one time, you can redo it again. Okay? So we're going to go over limiting beliefs, but we're also going to come up with an affirmation that you're going to use daily to overcome this thing. Okay? Okay, next.
Mine, I don't know how to say it without sounding conceited, so I'm just going to say it. So it's not like a limiting belief, like I believe in this, but mine's like an inner busy girl.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like we're teachers, we're coaches, we're athletic trainers, we're parents of toddlers, and so like getting past that busy, like at the end of the day, not having time, feeling like I have time to work the business, getting past that hurdle.
Okay. So you're too busy to work your business.
Well, yes.
Okay. So if you continue to allow yourself to be too busy to work your business, what will the actual reality be in 10 years?
Same.
Are you okay with them with marshmallows?
Same. Yeah, I mean the same busy. Yeah.
Okay. So is it worth changing? I mean, you look at 10 years from now and you tell me. If it's not, that's fine. Just tell me. I like same shit, different day. Some people like that. That's fine. Is that what you like? Or do you want something different?
Yes.
Yes, what?
we like some of it and we want to change some of it.
Okay. So change takes some kind of sacrifice, right? So are you really busier than everyone else? What do you do when you get home?
No, everybody's
Right. But what do you do? What do you do when you get home?
Kids and then this.
Okay. Kids and then this. What is the thing that tells you you're too busy? In other words, when you're saying, I'm too busy for this, what is it you're trying to go do instead?
Amen.
Amen.
It is. It really is. Like, I believe in this so much. From like, do I believe in this enough, or do I want an extra hour of sleep? Right. That's just the.
So 10 years from now. Okay. 10 years from now, how many days will you remember that you missed an hour of sleep? Like maybe 2. There might be those 2 where you're like, I was
the really rough ones.
maybe should have gone to bed those 2 times. But that's it, right?
Yeah.
So the question is always 10 years from now. I made a post about this yesterday for my birthday. I was like, honestly, for many, many, many years, I woke up on my birthday worried about getting older because I still hadn't changed anything in my life. That's scary. But now, honestly, I wake up and I'm like, damn, that's cool. I'm a year further. Like, I'm a year closer to all the stuff that I want. That's exciting. And that makes you wake up, like, proud of yourself. So that's our 2 options in life, is to wake up in regret of what we haven't created or excited about what we are creating. Not just for you, but for your family. So, first of all, I hate the word busy so much.
Yeah.
So, like, let's
It's
just
annoying. I know.
like cut that one out.
It is.
It's okay. We're being honest now, so I want you to use all those terrible words. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, moving
You didn't
forward.
say content.
It's true. It's true. So, what's an affirmation we can create to remind ourselves that it is worth it?
You're here for.
Well, I'm asking the questions, but you guys got to come up with some answers.
Remember who we're doing it
Worth
for.
God, who it's for.
Okay. Who we're doing it for. So, who are you doing it for?
Our kids and other people's kids that need us.
Okay. So, when you're tempted to go to bed, but you've still got some messages you need to send and some things you need to do, what are you going to tell yourself?
It's for the babies.
Here's what I think you should say. Am I really so busy that I don't have time for my own kid's future? That'll hit you in the heart. I mean, if that doesn't hit you in the heart, like, you have no soul. But that's the thing, is we got to play dirty. Because let's be real, whatever those limiting beliefs are, they're playing dirty, are they not?
Yeah.
You better play dirty if you want to win. Okay? There ain't no rules. This ain't a football game. It's not a rule. Okay? It's whatever it takes to get your kids what you want to get your kids. And if that means you, I mean, me personally, I play dirty on myself. I'm like, dude, do your kids deserve this or not? 10 years from now, like 10 years from now for me is like just something I say all the time. I'm constantly trying to think about. That does not mean that I never take naps or watch Netflix, because I do. I'm just saying that I put priorities first. Then I sit down and watch Netflix for 3 hours if I did the stuff that I needed to do. And then I don't even feel bad about watching Netflix for 3 hours, because I'm like, honestly, after doing all that, I need 3 hours of Netflix. But my first 2 years in business, when I wasn't making money and I wasn't doing it as a full-time job, there was no Netflix until like 11:30 at night. So at that point, if I chose Netflix, I was choosing Netflix over sleep, not Netflix over business. Does that make sense? I got my business done, and that was my rule. You can watch Netflix and do everything else first, and sometimes by that time you're just so tired, you're like, screw Netflix, I'm going to bed. Okay? Makes sense? Okay.
Mine's easy. Just not possible for me.
Okay, it's not possible for you. Tell me why.
I don't know, because I've never. I know you're good. I know you're. I know you get some stuff out of people. I know. I just don't think it's possible. That's what my mean girl tells me every day.
Mm-hmm. She says it's not possible. You're too.
I don't know. I just don't like.
I mean, there's got to be some explanation because earlier you told me you believed in free will.
I just, because of like what we've had for 14 years, money's always been the issue. I just don't have, like, I can work and work and work as hard as I do, but I just.
But it doesn't change. So there we go. So that's it. So I don't believe things can change because they've always been this way.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So can your kids change?
Yes.
Why? If they've always been that way, how can they change? It's impossible.
I mean, I know we change they change every day, I feel like.
Okay. Why? Why are they different
I don't know.
than you?
They're growing up.
They're growing up. So don't we have the same opportunity to grow up, even if our physical bodies aren't technically
Yes.
changing?
I'm definitely not who I was 10 years ago.
Okay. So we are changing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've been changing this whole time, I mean, why couldn't you change into something different or something more? So let's go back to something you said, okay? You said I've worked really, really hard. Okay? How long?
5 months.
5 months.
I mean, I literally just started this 5 months ago.
Okay. So current beliefs are based not on the work you put into Beachbody, based on the work you put into what?
I've always been the stay-at-home mom that's all I was.
But you said I've worked really, really, really hard and haven't got anything different.
As far as like the last 5 months, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
As far as me being like helping out, like I want to help him.
Yeah.
That's like my whole goal is to not have, like I want to help.
Okay. So let's pretend for a second that we really don't know if this could ever work or would ever work. Maybe at 5 months from now, for all we know, Carl Deichler is a schmoozer that's like going to go bankrupt next year. 5 months in, you don't know any better, right?
Right.
So let's pretend for a second that there's just like 50-50 chance. Maybe it does work, maybe it doesn't. If you had a 50% chance of helping him out, is that worth the 2 or 3 hours you're putting in every day?
Yeah.
Is that worth failing for maybe like 16 more months before you actually see any type of result?
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth it.
It is.
It may not be possible. It may not be. Like, if we're just going to be 100% honest, we don't know what's possible and what's not possible. I'm not God. Okay? Even though I believe it's 100% possible. For a second here, I'm going to pretend I don't know. Okay? So if you don't actually know that it's possible, let's just say what we do know. Even if this took me 3 years to find out that I could help out, it would be worth the work.
It would.
Even if I put in 3 years and then found out Beachbody is a joke, this shit doesn't actually work. Apparently they were just like grinding up grass and adding in blueberries. They got sued and the whole company went under. But for 3 years, I put in work and energy because I believed there was a 50% chance to help him. Are there regrets? No. There's not, is there? So I think that needs to be your affirmation.
No regrets?
The work, yes. The work that I'm putting in is worth it. Even if it's only 50% possible. Because of who I'm doing it for. Because if your focus is it's impossible, you're never going to stick around for 3 years, that's for sure. Do you guys know there's a stat people who stick around in their MLM for at least 10 years, basically like 98% of those people end up in the top 5% of their company. 10 years. You know how few people stick around for 10 years? But the ones who do, something like 98% of them end up in the top 5% of the company. Problem with network marketing is not whether or not it works, it's whether or not people actually stick around long enough to see it work. Okay, next.
Mine's a little similar, but instead she's saying you've never been successful before. You've given up so many times, so why is this the time?
Yeah.
Which I slap her around like every day. I'm like, stop it, girl. This is going. So, but yeah, a little similar, but.
Right. So you've always given up. So why would this be any different? What have you given up on?
Well, I feel like even things like back in high school or like even in grade school, like math was too hard. So I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like those kind of things. And when I've gotten older, it's like, I'll try more, but if it's too much, then like my mind just goes berserk and it's just too much stress. And it's just, I don't want to deal with that if it's stressful.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of things though? I just want some examples.
Oh, like actual things.
Yeah.
Besides math.
Yes. Other than math.
Well, to be completely transparent and honest, other companies that I've been involved in.
Okay.
And that's okay because I do truly feel like it was not meant to be. But, I've just, and my family has seen it. My husband has seen it. Oh, you tried this. So why this? Why is this going to work?
Right.
So then I'll hear that from other people too. Like actually just my aunt the other day around Christmas was like, no, you can't do this for 3 months and then stop. And I'm like, oh God, that hurt because I knew it. Right. But it's so true. And so it's like, that's probably my hardest thing, although I don't want to be that person anymore. So.
You what?
I don't want to be that person anymore.
Do you have free will?
Yeah, I do.
So can you choose not to be that person
Absolutely.
anymore?
Yeah.
So you can literally wake up every day and decide to be anyone you want.
Yeah.
And if that's a quitter, you're all welcome to be one if you want to.
Right.
But you're all also welcome to not be a quitter and just show up. So tell me, if you've got a kid that's quit 1,000 things before, again, I like to talk about kids.
That's good.
And your kid decides, you know what, Mom? I think I really want to do this trombone thing. Now, honey, you tried 10 different instruments. And you quit one. Is that what you say to your kid?
No.
What do you say to your kid?
I would tell him, keep going. And I do say him because I do see that in him already.
Right.
And so I try to say, don't get frustrated, just keep going. So why don't I tell that to myself? I know. I will now.
Okay, but here's where I really wanted to hit home, okay? Is every time you do quit, okay, you are passing on to your kid that demon.
Yeah.
Because again, we're a product of our environment. Now, of course, every human grows up to get their own free will and make the decision. But for me personally, I'm trying really, really, really hard not to make life any harder on my kids than it already is. Like when they're adults, they got to make a decision, right? Am I going to live according to my pre-programming or am I going to go reprogram? But I'd really like them to have to do as little reprogramming as possible. I'm going to fuck them up somehow. Like, we're humans. That's going to happen. That's going to happen, right? But I'm trying to give them as few obstacles as possible in life.
Yeah.
So I think for you, maybe you decide, you know what? I'm going to make a daily decision to keep going so that I can create that kind of culture and that kind of programming for my kids to keep going.
Yeah.
You should write that down.
Do it. Have you seen The Office? Sorry to get off topic, but
I'm not
anyone else hear that one?
Office person. Sorry.
They're like, write that down.
Seriously, guys, your pain points, okay? This is House Sales 101. Find the other person's pain point and then solve their problem. That's how I sell myself, too. It's not just how I sell other people. It'd be stupid not to use sales tactics on myself. Find your own pain point. For me, it's always my kids. Always my kids. I'm always going to use my kids against me to get me to wake up and do the things I need to do. I won't always do it for myself, honestly. It's going to be real. I'm human, right? Sometimes for myself, I'm like, nah. Let's just sleep. Let's just whatever. But for other people, which is probably why you got into this business, because you care about other people, not yourself, right? For other people, there's a million things that I would do. Even if they stretched me, even if they pushed me. So I got to use that against myself. All right, Kelly.
Okay, I have a few because I feel like the second half of the year, I had a lot of mean girls. And
They won, I feel like, sitting here today. And kind of flashback to the retreat, I feel like one is I've been in this too long to be successful. Like I feel like I've kind of lost that credibility because I've been that yo-yo, stop, start, like I'm all in, I'm all out, I'm all in, I got one fit in, one fit out. Which then the second is I've been too inconsistent to change or to truly take this where I want it to go. And then lately it's I'm too tired. Like I'm like the corporate job stressed me out today. I'm too tired. More into other.
Yeah.
I think that was what I wrote.
So let's go through those. Okay. Number one, I've been in it too long. Okay.
Okay.
Is there a point where you being in it for how long?
2015.
For 2015, 2015 years.
That's when I signed up.
For 3 years. Is there a point where you being in it for 3 years gives you more of a disadvantage than someone signing up today?
No, but I tell myself yes because
Correct. You tell yourself that.
Yeah.
Right. That's about as much truth as you have. But you know that it literally doesn't. Because let's say that every single human following you currently thinks you suck. And they're sick and tired of watching you go up and down, in and out, over and over and over and over and over and over. A new person doesn't have any of those people. They're starting over fresh with 0 people. So how are you any worse off than them? I don't see any way that you're worse off than a human who signs up today. If anything, you're better off because even if 98% of those people are sick and tired of the bullshit, there's 2% of people that are still cheering you on. So you have a 2% better, worst case scenario, you have a 2% better chance than someone who signs up today. Now, if I told you that there was a human signing up today to do this thing that you do, and they were going to stay consistent for the next 2 to 3 years, would you believe they could be successful?
Yes.
Not you, someone else.
Yeah.
Right? They sign up today. They're like, Kelsey, I'm in. Sign me up. And they say, here's the thing, for 2 years, I basically, I don't have a choice. That spell cast on me by one of those Instagram woo-woo girls. I can't help it. For the next 2 years, I have to show up every day. I have no choice. Where would you think they would be 2 years from now?
Further along than I am right now.
Just stop comparing. Where would they be 2 years from now?
Probably successful in this.
Probably successful in this. So you're no worse off than them. Again, worst case scenario, you're 2% better off. So why can't you succeed?
I don't know.
You can. The truth is you can't. You just have to decide to get over what you have or haven't done.
And that's been hard lately, and I don't know why.
It's always hard. The question is, do you want what you said earlier? And again, it's no pressure on anyone to actually want that. Like,
right.
It's just a fun question to ask. And if you write it all down and you're like, that's a fun fairy tale, but honestly, I don't really give a fuck. Rip the page out and throw it away. Right? Like, 6.
You're done.
Game over. One more. This is going NC 17. But if you do want it, the ball's in your court at any time that you decide you want to pick up the pen and decide to write it. You just have to pick up the pen and write it. And in reality, guys, if we really think about this, okay, I want you to think really hard about this. Is what we do on social media that hard?
Gosh, no. Oh my gosh.
No!
So easy.
I used to detail cars for 8 hours a day in 115-degree heat with no breeze because we were in an indoor building. What I do now, like sometimes I'm like, man, this is hard. And then I think back to detail, I'm like, shut up. This is like anyone could do what you do, bro. Just ask questions and talk to people. This is not hard work, okay? Now, it's challenging because I have to do things I don't want to do. But honestly, any human being on the planet could be trained to do what any of us do if they were just willing to just actually follow those steps and do it. Correct? So, lately you've been really tired because of corporate job. Yeah. And I'm assuming part of the tiredness is coming from the fact that you've been going at this for a little while without getting the wins that would normally kind of be the wind in someone's sails. That like, okay, it's hard, but like I got these checks showing up and I got a hope of in another year I can peace out. And so like, yes, it sucks, but also I've got momentum and I've got a fire, right? So you've got to ask yourself, 10 years from now, without doing this business, okay? I mean, you're still going to be tired.
Yeah.
Correct?
Because I'll be at the same job.
You're going to be the same, like, whatever you guys hate about life right now, if you don't do anything about it, you're going to hate more in another 10 years. I can promise you that, right? It's like the Chinese torture is just dropping water on your forehead over and over and over until you go insane. Like, it's not really that bad, but, like, stop dripping water on my forehead. So, like, it's just going to get worse. So do you want to put in the same 2 years that we talked about a new coach putting in and just decide, you know what? I have been in and out, but it doesn't matter. As of today, I'm a brand new coach. Last 2 years doesn't matter. On one hand, that sucks because it should have mattered, and it doesn't. But on another hand, better to just start over fresh than to keep holding the last 2 years against myself.
Yeah.
Let's just sign up and be a new coach today. Can we just all sign up and be new coaches today? What would I do if I were a brand new coach and I never failed before, I never screwed up before, I'd never been inconsistent before, I'd never said that I was going to go live 30 days in a row and then only did it 3 days in a row. I'd never said I was going to be on Instagram stories doing this full-blown meal prep every single Sunday afternoon at 2, and then I never, ever, ever did it and hope that no one knows. Let's pretend none of that. It just doesn't even matter because I'm a brand new coach. And if they all hate my guts, oh well, I'm due. If they want to come along for the journey, well, cool, then I'm better than them. But you got to decide that 10 years from now, how exhausted you currently are isn't what you want to experience 10 years from now. And then guess what? Another 10 years. And then guess what? Probably another 10 years. Unless you got like a really good retirement plan there. You're waking up at like 65 one day going, holy shit, I'm just tired. Like really tired. I'm still here. And you're going to look back and say, dang, if I'd have been willing to be just like a little more tired for like 2 years, I could have been like the fun kind of tired where like I'm complaining that I'm tired because I'm a human being, but in reality, I thought back to what I did today and I basically play on social media for a living. So let's just have another cup of coffee and play with the kids and go to bed. Which one do you want?
I don't want the life where I wake up at 65 and nothing's changed. So
let's be a new coach.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to create an affirmation around being a new coach with a fresh start and giving yourself 2 years to become as successful as a new coach could possibly become in 2 years. I think you'd be really surprised what could happen in 2 years. What's up?
Can I say something about
No,
that?
it's not allowed. Yes. Yes.
Like, just to let you know, like, being a new coach, like, you could never tell you're tired in your posts, and, like, you've inspired me. So I think that you need to know that, like, with your tears, like, you need to know, like, you're inspiring people when you don't even realize it.
Proud of you for signing up to be a Beachbody coach.
Right?
Good
day, good day.
Hey, enrolled in 24 hours. Okay.
I don't know. I don't have a mean girl.
Okay.
I know it's possible.
Okay.
I look at Kelsey and I think she's no different than me. She's way cuter.
Mm.
She didn't just have a baby and she has a way better body, but I can. And I think listening to all of this, like, it's just the excuses of I was up 7 times in the night and that extra hour of sleep does mean a lot. And so I just get in my own way of not wanting it bad enough, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And also I think to myself, I'm okay. Like we've been fine right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got to quit my job this year. My husband is going to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, relatively speaking.
Uh-huh.
It'll happen
Mm-hmm.
eventually.
Mhm.
I do the daily vitals half-ass some days,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll happen because I say it's going to happen. But I don't know. I don't have anything that's like telling me this isn't going to work. I do believe
That's
it is
okay.
going to work.
That's okay. That's awesome. That's a good place to be. So, are you setting goals based on nothing standing in your way?
Yes, but I don't think that I think I'm okay with not hitting them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Why? I mean, what do you mean by that? Like, you're okay, like, because you're secure? Or, like, you're okay because it's, like, not that big of a deal?
I think I'm okay because it's like, well, that was a completely unrealistic goal.
Mhm.
So if you didn't hit it, well, it was unrealistic. So
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's, like, partially okay. I set my goals the same way. I set my goals, like, 10x, knowing there's no way in hell that's actually going to happen. And if it does, it'll be the coolest thing ever. And if it doesn't, that's okay. I like 4x, which is like, so that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not like trying to like pull insecurities out of people that don't exist. So if they're not there, like I'm not trying to like create anything. Okay. So if you're good, you're good. That's awesome.
I mean, it's just, and then you talk about kids, and I'm like, oh, that's uncomfortable. Like that's my pain point.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't want them to be okay with just being mediocre.
Yeah.
I want them to succeed. I
Mm-hmm.
want them to see qualities in me that they want to be.
Totally.
I don't want them to be just content.
Right. Okay. So that's your affirmation.
Yeah.
To just make sure you're creating the life every single day that you want to duplicate into your kids. And then maybe go beyond the business. Recently, I had to like kind of like honestly look in the mirror and talk about my parenting style and be like, honestly, I don't feel like I work my ass off for my kids, but sometimes I'm like not the best, honestly, at regrouping after business and being like, all right, let's be the best dad in the world. I'm like, all right, I did my shit. Now, like, what are we gonna do tonight? Watch a movie? And that's just me being honest. Like, I think we all have areas of our life where that's continual growth. That's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? So you may need to look outside your business too, like I had to, and say, I got some other areas I like really need to challenge myself, and I need to be like just as adamant about challenging myself in these areas as I have been. Because this one, honestly, for me was just such a backbreaker to redefine who I was and what I thought as far as business goes. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And sometimes when you put in that kind of work and effort, there's other things that get dropped, and you got to go back and pick those things up if you're being honest. You know what I mean? And so there may be some other things, and that's okay too. Just ask yourself what, and this is something I learned from Brendan Burchard that I absolutely love, is whatever area of your life you're talking about. This can go for your recruiting, this can go for your social media, this can go for your team culture, this can go for parenting. Is to just ask yourself, 5 years from now, this person is describing you. What 3 words would you want them to say about you? So for recruiting, what 3 words do you want people to say about you as a recruiter? For team culture, what would you want 5 years from now people to say about the culture of your team? For me, parenting, what are the 3 words you'd want your kids to, if someone asked your kid, not that they would ever actually, you know what I mean? Like they'd be like, oh, he's boring, he's whatever. But if someone were to ask your kids,
what's your dad like? And they told you in 3 words, what would those words be? And then you create that. Like you take on those 3 words as your new attitude for how you do business in that area. So maybe that helps. If not, that's okay.
No, that's
just keep being awesome.
no. I'm not where I want to be, but I think that I don't know. I don't have anything stopping me. It's just me stopping me, like not wanting it bad enough or not needing it bad. I don't know. It's I just don't have a mean girl that's like, you can't do this. I know I can do it. It's just doing it. And so, but the parenting thing is good. I mean, doing this and being a good parent. I'm not good at that.
Totally.
So, yeah.
I was honestly better at it my first 2 years because I was working full time and doing this. I was so freaking diligent about setting aside time for my kids to make sure the business didn't take away from my kids. And then when I got doing my business full time, I'm like, I got all night for my kids. And I hear the same thing with people's businesses. So like, I was really productive when I didn't do this full time, and now I do it full time. So I'm still productive with my business, but being intentional in every area of your life is just a constant reevaluation, a constant growth journey. So you keep rocking it, okay?
Thanks.
Okay, let's hear about your mean girl.
So I don't know. This might get a little too real, but I feel like my mean girl, and I know maybe it's not true, but sometimes I believe it. It's definitely not an insecurity by any means, but me, I feel like everyone else that's on social media, like I tell myself sometimes I'm never going to sign up as many people as I need to because everybody else doesn't look like me. So to me, I feel like that's a struggle for me to try to target everyone else. There's not that many Black women that are working out. And so then when I try to target, people that are the same race as me, we don't work out. I mean, I'm just being honest. Like, Black people don't work out it's just the truth. We don't really work out like we should. You know what I mean? And I feel like we have the most health issues. So, and I'm not saying that I only target Black women, on Instagram or whatever. I'm trying to target everybody. But then that mean girl is like, nobody's going to listen to you. You don't look like them. That's my main thing. And then the other thing I feel like is like everyone else. Like, I feel like I'm just too busy and I don't have to do it.
So when you say they don't look like me, let's just be real. You mean I'm a black woman? I'm a Black woman in a white Instagram, right? Okay. So Beyonce, have you heard of her?
Yeah. Have you heard of her?
Who's
that? Who's that?
Do you remember the jokes that I was making earlier about everyone on Instagram dancing to gangsta rap before their How many of them girls are white? Like all of them girls are white dancing to gangster rap, right? Which means they were influenced by, not usually, there's like what, 2 white people have ever done gangster rap successfully. Everyone else is Black, correct? Which tells me a Black woman can be as successful as she decides to be if she decides. And that's the thing, is you have to decide that you're not going to attach anyone else's stereotype to your level of success. You know what I'm saying? And if anything, gosh, I really think it gives you an advantage.
I know. I've
because white people, we all want to be Black. Everyone.
Don't say that.
I know.
We go with our problem. No, I know.
Trust me, I know where you're coming from. I know where you're.
Have you seen my rapping skills?
In general, we all wish we had like soul. We all wish we could. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that you think, maybe like. And I'm not questioning for a second if it's harder to be a Black person than a white person. I get that. But what I'm saying is, in general, I mean, hip hop is the culture that we live in. It really is. I mean, it's crazy to me when I go into a place like Urban Outfitters, that is kind of like this like trendy, kind of hipster place that's like urban now. It like, you know what I mean? I'm like, over the last 5 years, even just like within clothing, I'm like, it's so like cultures are just like, and it's really cool, really awesome. I wish I was cool enough to rock it. I'm not. But that's the thing is, it's only, Napoleon Hill says, the only limitations that exist are the ones we create in our mind. Okay? So as long as you think that, the truth is you will manifest it because we're constantly manifesting our own prophecy. Because as long as you think, white girl now sign up with me or do this or do that, you put out that attitude, you put that energy, and you push them away. Whereas if instead you said, and white girls should be signing up with me because I've seen their hip hop videos over there, and they're just god awful. So that you decide, does this make me at a disadvantage, or does it put me at an advantage? And that's the thing for me is I always tell people being on the John Maxwell team, I spent my whole first year thinking I was at a disadvantage because I wasn't 60-year-old white dude with gray hair and a suit, because that was the whole John Maxwell. And I wasn't sitting up straight, and I wasn't talking like, if you go back to my first YouTube video, it's hilarious. I was trying to be like them. I was like, today I want to talk to you about the law of the lid. Now, the law of the lid says, and I look back like, who the fuck is that? Dang it. Dang it. But it's been longer than a normal movie. We're in our second movie. But the thing is, my second year, I realized that was my biggest advantage. Was no one on the John Maxwell team was my age, speaking my language. None of them understood social media. I was able to do something none of them had ever done. So by the time I actually got certified to be on the John Maxwell team, I was already having $10,000 months, and I was showing up, and everyone there was backing into corners asking me how I do it. How do you use social media? What do you mean? How? I just post on it, and I how you email somebody? I just send them a Facebook message instead. It doesn't have a logo attached. I think it's easier. What do you mean? How do you not do it? So that's the thing though, is at some point I stopped allowing myself to believe it was a disadvantage. And it ended up being the greatest advantage I had, that I had a way to do it that no one else even knew. But you have to decide that. So you got to wake up every single day. Your affirmation should be, the thing that would have been my biggest disadvantage, I have decided is my biggest advantage.
And it's and honestly, I struggle to actually voice it because it's not an insecurity. You know what I mean? It's not I'm not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of but it's just, to me, it's just the reality.
Right.
And I just have to stop.
And so you got to rewrite.
Yeah.
You got to rewrite reality.
Yeah.
Because isn't reality just a perception? I mean, is this color red, or is that just a word we made up? I mean, I don't know what it is. Do colors even exist? We saw something and we assigned a name to it. Correct? I don't even know if this is a Solo cup, but we just call it that because it's red. Right?
It's a Dollar Tree cup.
It's not even a Solo cup. It's an imposter. We called it a Solo cup all night, I bet, because some country song, right? So you get to define what reality is with that pen. You can literally just write it down. You literally get to prophesy whatever you want in life, and then you go manifest it, because what you seek is what you will find. And if you have decided you're an influencer, guess what? You'll wake up every day and you will write posts with so much confidence, and then it will attract people, and people will want to work with you. Why? Because of the confidence. Confidence is the greatest attraction you will ever find. There's nothing else that even comes close. So these limiting beliefs that we have, their greatest assignment in our life is to destroy our confidence. Because as long as we don't have that confidence, we will manifest the limit instead of what we really want. Okay? So you're going to make that decision. I am a woman of influence because I choose to be.
Yes. I like that deep voice.
Because I choose to be. Okay?
Thanks.
You're welcome. And honestly, I just have to be real. I really think you should talk about it. I think you should open up about it. I think you would find so much support you didn't even realize existed. I really do. Okay? Okay.
So piggyback off of that, and I've actually had a big crying session with my husband about it, who is white. So he gets a little bit, and he's dealt with some of my insecurities, and that's what I wrote down. My inner mean girl and boy is the people who told me I wasn't good enough, or I was too black, or I didn't have the straight hair, or just whatever growing up. So I think that holds me back more than anything. Just the confidence in myself to not put it out there in front of other people, because I look at myself a different way than what, I mean, I don't know, other people might see.
Yeah.
So if someone asked me why, I've been doing Beachbody for 10 years and why am I just now coaching? It's just because of that. Like, I was afraid to put myself out there. So just something I'm working on, but before I start crying, this baby's like kicking in my stomach because it's still my stress.
If you told that exact story on social media,
but I know that's where I'm at right now with, do I tell that story or am I beating a dead horse? Like, I don't want to keep on putting it out there like, oh, woe is me, I'm black and I got bullied as a kid and, we have all these problems. I mean, we don't have all these problems. I mean, we do, but.
Hey, LeBron, I was a fat white kid. You know how many fat white kids got bullied?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I rode the bus and I
stuck up for those guys.
Ashley's like, I remember.
Being bullied,
I'm not out there to go for me.
Yeah.
It's just a story, so he's going to tell a
story.
And that's the thing, and that's the beauty of telling your story, okay, is that you think people are going to be like, oh, here she goes again telling her. But in reality, okay, when you tell your story that had given you a disadvantage that you decided to turn into your advantage, okay, here's what you have the ability then to do. To relate to every single person following you that feels like they have a disadvantage. And it's probably not the same one, right? But there's going to be someone that was a fat white kid. There's going to be someone that had abusive parents. There's going to be someone who, well, let's just go down the list here of every single person that has had some type of a struggle that's set them back, right? And then the beauty of our story is it allows people to relate up to us and see, okay, I thought she had all of her shit together. Because here's what's crazy. You guys all think that you're a mess, and all of your followers are like, oh my God, she's so perfect. She works out. She's just like she wears a different tank top every day. I haven't changed clothes in 6 days. Like, you think you're a hot mess because you're comparing yourself to Bonnie Engel. You're like, oh my God, I could never live up to Melanie Metro. You just never do it. But in reality, your followers are watching you and they think that you're perfect because that's what you have shown them. You have shown them the perfection. So the second you're like, you know what? Like, honestly, this is what I've gone through, but this is who I've become. That's the most powerful thing. Nobody cares that I made $400,000 in my third year of business. They care that I only made $500 in my first year. Without the first year story, people just think I'm an asshole for saying that out loud, right? But the second I say, in my first year, this is what I did. All of a sudden, this is inspiring. Because I'm not trying to show you who I am. I'm trying to show you who I became. And that's always what people want to hear, and it's what they need to hear. So if we leave the struggle out, we are all a bunch of assholes, right? Look at me. I lost all this weight. I'm wonderful and amazing. And also I have perfectly white teeth because of apps, right? Because I edited my photos. Also, yes, that is the best angle of my ass. You'll never see the other angle, right? The second we start to share the struggle is when we become real. That's when people see that there's hope for them because we struggle, not because we're perfect. Okay? So you got to embrace your story. You got to take ownership of it and decide, hey, I do struggle because I'm human. But this is who I'm growing into and this is who I'm becoming. Doesn't mean you should be talking about your struggle on every single post. Okay? Doesn't mean every single day you should wake up and say, okay, I'm going to share my... But once or twice a week you should. Once or twice a week, mixing in between all of the positive, energetic, I believe in you, this is why I'm here. Once or twice a week, you should be mixing in that stuff. Okay? So again, the only limits that exist are the ones you create in your mind.
So you're going to wake up every day and decide there are no limits. Okay?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Coming back?
Okay, so I wrote, my mean girl says it doesn't matter how hard you work, there's always going to be something at the end. So you can work so hard at the end, something will happen that'll set you back.
Okay. Something that's going to like kill it all, or like
Like
one
at
of
the
those
second
one
you're
step
like,
forward, two steps
success
back.
is right there and I can see it, and then
Like it's too good to be true.
yeah, and then something happens that throws you backwards and you have to kind of start over again.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, when has this happened before? I feel like this is coming from
Today. I don't know. Like it just seems like every time in this business, when I feel like that success is about to happen, something big might happen. It could be a sickness in the family. It could be a car breaks. It could be just something in life. So it's like, well, fuck, I've been doing this and then this.
She just took
like,
one of mine.
I think that gives you one back, actually.
Okay.
Stay on me for too much longer. So that, I mean, that's what I would say.
How long have you been doing this?
3 years.
3 years? Okay. What was your first year like? Numbers wise, income wise.
Well, it's different because I was a full-time teacher.
Sure.
My first year.
Okay.
And I was a part-time teacher my second year, and then now I'm full-time.
Okay.
So I feel like success has changed, if that makes sense. Like, of course, you know.
But without any compare whatever. What kind of numbers were you hitting? What kind of money were you making year one compared to now?
Probably half.
Okay.
Half year one of what I made.
Okay. So even with everything going wrong, every single time momentum gets built up, even with kids getting sick, cars breaking down, in 3 years, you've still doubled your income.
Right.
So imagine another 3 years, you're able to keep doing the same thing.
Right.
Cars are going to keep breaking down.
Right.
Damn
Right.
cars, right? Kids are going to keep getting sick. If you have 4 kids like mine, one kid gets sick, and about the time they get better, the next one, and it's like for 6 weeks straight, somebody's sick.
Yeah.
And by the time everyone's done being sick, it's time for the next bug to go around, right? It's like somebody's always sick.
Like
But-
last year, I celebrated this big, and it was on a team call. I celebrated that I paid off my kids' medical bills.
Yeah.
And then they were back in the hospital. So it was like, so this week I get to celebrate the next set of medical bills. It just seems like as soon as you do something, there's something else instead of like, I'd love for this bank of money to go here to help pay for this, but instead it keeps going back, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Instead of
no,
like
it does.
paying for the salary that I would hope.
Right.
It's doing all this stuff that I'm
Correct.
not planning.
Correct. Which is part of life.
Right.
Okay. And it does suck that that's part of life.
Right.
But you know, I love John Maxwell has this quote where basically he says, every single time a door opens, what humans usually think is, I got my break, I arrived, we're done. And in reality, what it means is the door opened and you are given an opportunity to perform. And if you perform for that one door, 4 or 5 more doors open for you. And in reality, every single door that opens is just another opportunity to perform. And I think as humans, we're always looking for the opportunity to like, cool, the door opened. Let's lay down and sleep in this room for the rest of my life. And that's not what life looks like or what growth looks like. So I think for you, I think you need to stop looking for the door that is the end door. Realize there is no end door. Because for as long as we're human and alive, there's going to be more struggles and mistakes. Like, I mean, I went through a divorce, you know, I've been over a year and a half now. And every single time I thought, like, okay, things are good now. Like, the kids are, like, seem like they're getting over this. Some other shitstorm happens, right? It just, and I, you know, I was telling Jenny the other day, I was like, it feels good. I feel like we finally got through all of the unknowns. And now I've just kind of like settled into this place where I just realized like, for the rest of my life, there's going to be things that happen and things that go wrong. And I'm no longer looking for everything to get fixed. You know what I mean? And honestly, that alone brings me so much peace to know that when I wake up tomorrow, one of my kids could freak out and decide they never want to see my face again and go live with their mom. And just know that that's just reality. That could happen. And when that does happen, we'll address it, and we'll take care of it, and everything will be fine. Because every single time some crazy freak out happens, if I just like patient, calm, thanks to Jenny, she helps me be calm, it usually works itself out. Like, it still sucks. It still hurts. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still not fun. But at the end of the day, like, it's never a life or death situation. It always ends up being okay down the road. And so I think it's, like, okay to, like, give yourself permission to, like, realize things are going to be just hard because that's part of being alive. But remove Beachbody from the equation, okay? And go back to teaching full time. Is life better or worse?
It's just different. It wasn't the life I wanted. It wasn't better or worse. It just wasn't what I wanted.
Wouldn't you say the thing that you don't want is always worse than the thing you want? I mean, if I gave you 2 drinks, okay, and one was the one you're in the mood for,
yeah,
the other one is the one you're not in the mood for, it doesn't mean you don't like the other one.
Right, I can see that.
It's not saying that it's a bad drink,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's just that one is better because what you want.
Yeah. I mean, with the blame.
So if you have the thing that you want, I mean, I think that makes life better.
Yeah.
Always. I'm not saying that teaching was like the worst thing ever and you hate. It doesn't have to be that way, right? But life is better. So imagine if you keep going forward but having setbacks, forward and having setbacks, forward and having setbacks, even at just the pace that it's already happening. Okay? Fast forward, again, 10 years. How much different is life?
Yeah, no, I'm totally cool with charging forward. That's
Right. I'm not pretending that you're not cool with that, but I'm trying to help you process in your head, okay? Life is gonna have setbacks.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe your affirmation just needs to be like, I am moving forward and setbacks are going to happen.
I wrote
But
down. I
even
can do
with-
that too.
Yes,
That's what I wrote down.
exactly. Even with setbacks,
Yeah.
I'm still always moving forward over time. Because that's really what's important, right? It's not honestly, guys, if you hit your January goal or don't hit your January goal, it doesn't really matter if you progress forward. Because then eventually you'll get what you want, right? So the goal is to eventually get what I want, not to have what I want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that help at all?
It does.
Okay, cool. Okay, next.
Josh, I have so many pages of notes. I don't know where I wrote down this answer. My mean girl, I slept with at Summit, and she breathed on my neck all night long. We had an issue where I made a giant mistake, and in front of my whole team at Summit, and she just was so loud and in bed with me all night long. Who the fuck do you think you are? Why would you ever think that you could come here with this team and be like one of these top coaches and have this, and like, why would you ever think that you could be in this role?
Yeah.
And so we had to work through that, you know, and it gave me the opportunity to really put into practice what the personal development for the 4.5 years was. And of course she's still there, but I think that I kind of have outrun her maybe a little bit. But I mean, I don't know, that's what I came up with, was just those voices that I kind of, childhood voices, right? Just, why would you think that this would be any different for you? Why would you think this isn't who you would be?
Right. So when you think 10 years out, okay, building orphanages, since I planned that.
6-pack.
Can I like be a part of it? Can I
Yeah,
do it together?
absolutely.
Okay. All the awesome things that you want to do to change the world. Okay. What's Mean Girl saying?
I told you wouldn't be able to speak Portuguese by the time you came on this trip.
Can you get a
I knew you wouldn't be able to. Yeah, of course. She's not rational. She's just mean.
She's never. But what is her week?
I think just that I really never did anything as a kid. I was just a habitual quitter. If it was math and it was hard, I was telling my daughter today, like, I wouldn't want to break a rule, right? I wouldn't not do a homework assignment just because I wouldn't want to get in trouble. But I sure as wasn't going to really do the assignment either. So I would do that. Oh, I forgot to do 38 through 42 when I flipped the paper. Sorry. You know, I would just, how can I cut this as short as possible without getting in trouble?
Right.
And so just stepping into it, I don't want that to be who I am anymore, but that's not the practice of what I've been. So.
But you know what's kind of funny about this whole thing is when people like kind of get in their head about like, ooh, I'm inconsistent, I quit all the time. But also, didn't you just say all the time? I just quit all the time. It sounds like a pretty consistent person. You just weren't doing the thing that produced results consistently. But in actuality, you still made a decision to do the thing you wanted to do over and over. It's just that at that current time, the thing that was put in front of you was not the thing you wanted.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like you've been like
Nailing
using
it.
free will.
Yeah.
It's just that up until now, maybe you hadn't found anything you really wanted to do.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I really like
But
that.
you decided to get what you wanted. I did the same thing in high school. I literally did not read one single book in high school. Internet was barely even a thing. And I remember getting on there and using probably Yahoo or AOL to look up Cliff's Notes.
You didn't buy the yellow book with the black.
No, I was too lazy to go get the book. I wasn't even going to go to the library. I was like, screw that.
I remember those.
That's in your life, Yahoo.
I sat and waited for dial-up internet to take 30 minutes. And I don't know what I did for that 30 minutes. What did we do back then? I forgot. So anyway, yeah, I would literally sometimes download stuff off the internet and put it in my own words. And I know that's illegal. I just didn't care. We're going to take me to jail for illegally writing a report. One time, this was awesome. One time, we were supposed to read Huckleberry Finn. So here's the other thing I would do is if there was a movie, I would go get the movie. Did you guys know that Tom and Huck and Huckleberry Finn are two completely different stories? I watched the wrong movie, and my teacher, he calls me up. He's grading scores. He calls me up. He goes, "Hey, Josh." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Did you watch the movie?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Looks to me like you might have watched the movie based on your answers." I was like, "Nah, I didn't even know there was a movie." He goes, "That's funny because you watched the wrong movie." I was like, "Oh shit!" So I was the same way, but it just meant that I always did what I wanted to do. I always did what I wanted to do, and I was gonna find a way to get through high school, do whatever the hell I wanted to do. And if that meant I was going to cheat on a paper 5 minutes before class, whatever. I don't care. That's what I want to do. I'm going to do it. If someone else wanted to cheat off my paper, that's fine too. Whatever. I don't care. Because that's not what I cared about. So if you've always got what you wanted, let's just decide to actually want something productive, beneficial, something that makes a change and makes a difference. And also, by the way, if you can find a way to cheat in your business, Facebook ads, paying assistants, you should. So some of us slackers end up being the most successful because we're not afraid to delegate and outsource, and some of them hard workers refuse to delegate or outsource anything. I'm like, that's cool, peace. I'll have my assistants working on that. By the way, me and Jenny are going to the coffee shop to hang out. So you can get what you want. Just decide you want something different. Okay? Okay. Yes, I can.
I think my mean girl is mainly telling me that my story is not compelling. Like I don't have a good story. No one will want to work with me because who am I?
Okay, tell me a little about your story.
Well, that's a good question. I think a lot of it for me, since we're in health and fitness, like I haven't really struggled with my weight. It's not an issue.
It's fine. Tell me what your story is. Don't tell me what your story isn't. Tell me what your story is.
I'm a stay-at-home mom of 3. This is where I struggle.
Why do you do this?
I like helping women feel confident and feel their best. And
right now I'm liking being a leader in the team and like building my team and helping that side instead of just women with their health. I want to see women meet their goals financially as well.
Okay. Do you like to help people? Yeah. Like to help people feel their best? You like to be a leader? I'm assuming doing Beachbody does the same for you?
Yeah.
Okay. So even if Beachbody didn't help anybody lose weight, let's pretend we're all fat forever. Okay? Hashtag fat forever. Okay? But drinking Shakeology and working out every day made everyone feel like their best selves. Made everyone want to do something to help other people make the world a better place and become better leaders. Still a good deal or a bad deal?
Yeah.
Still a good deal?
Yeah.
Okay. So why in the world do we think that if we haven't personally lost weight, that somehow we have no story and there's nothing we have to offer the world?
Because you see all these other coaches who have these amazing weight loss stories. And you're comparing yourself
So
to them.
you're not saying that you have a bad story. You've just been watching too many other people's stories. Instead of making your own movie, you've been watching everyone else's movie.
Maybe, yeah.
But wouldn't you say that if I could stand in front of you, okay, I want you to pretend for a second I'm someone that's just worked with you for a year, okay? And I said, you know what? In the last year, I've become the best version of myself. I'm happier than I've ever been before. I'm more fulfilled than I've ever been before. I'm more excited about life than I've ever been before. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Is that a success?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that that's honestly more important than whether or not someone wears smaller jeans?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I feel like I've said that in posts, but I don't feel like people believe it.
You don't believe it. I don't really give a fuck what anyone else believes. I don't go on my social media every day wondering whether or not people believe what I say. If I believe enough in what I say, it doesn't really matter if you believe it or not. I'm sold. In my Push Leaders group, I teach them that you have to smoke the drugs that you deal. You can't deal drugs you ain't smoking. And you better be your number one customer. If you're trying to deal hope, you better be the number one. In other words, you have to believe in the product. Same way you gotta believe in Shakeology is the same way you gotta believe in the recruiting opportunity or whatever it is you're selling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So stop watching everybody else's story. Go find someone who does have a similar story that does inspire you. Stop watching all the stories that don't. Okay? So your affirmation needs to be something like, I'm not comparing my story to others. I'm writing my best story. And it doesn't really matter how it does or whether it does compared to anyone else's. Because also, no one else that follows you is following any of these other people.
Right.
Nobody cares. They only care what you're willing to give them. Okay? Okay. Last one. And everyone's going to get drunk.
Well, I mean, I think we all have these mean girls you've been talking about, but I don't really need them because I'm my own worst critic and I'm really my own mean girl. I've always been an overachiever, but it's really been because I've either had a fear of failing, so I try to work harder than everybody else, or fear of disappointing someone, or a fear of looking bad, or something like that. So, I mean, I think I'm my own mean girl, I just have fears. You work off of fear, and if someone might be disappointed or think, why is she doing this, or and that's a lot of family, friends, people that are close to you. I just don't want to disappoint anybody. I don't want to look bad in front of anybody or disappoint anyone. So I think I'm my own mean girl.
So what you want 10 years from now?
Yeah.
If you don't get it, who do you disappoint?
Probably myself and my kids and my husband and the people that are closest to me.
Okay. So you do not have a problem with worrying about disappointing people. You have a problem with worrying about disappointing the wrong people.
Right. Sure.
That needs to become your affirmation.
Okay.
I am not worried about who I might disappoint, okay? I'm more focused on the people I'm trying to make proud. I knew when I went to social media, I was going to make a lot of enemies. I knew there was going to be some people that hated my guts. But I said, for the sake of my kids, Am I really that worried about what a bunch of people on Facebook and Instagram think of me? Most of these people I'll never meet in person. I didn't know I'd be successful enough that someone would want me to come to Kansas City and actually meet people in person.
Right.
Right. I didn't know that was going to happen. But apparently the people that asked me to come to Kansas City weren't my enemies and they liked me.
Right.
So if they do ever meet you in person, it's because they actually like you.
Right.
Right? So what's more important?
Right. Making those people proud that I want to. And I like the way you flip that from disappointing people to making them proud.
Right.
And it's getting over that negativity. You know, I think we get focused on the negative aspects
Yep.
and I need to listen to the positive aspects.
And again, if we just think about our kids, okay, my kid comes to me and says, Dad, Mom, got this dream. I've got this thing I really, really want to do with all my heart that I believe would make me proud. I believe would make you proud. I believe would make my family proud. But I don't think I'm going to do it because there's just too many people out there watching that I may let down, that I may disappoint, that I may hurt, that may make fun of me, that may, I mean, how many of you, anybody else have a kid that's got some like bully problems at school? I got like a couple of them. Can you imagine telling your kid, I really want you to just give up on your dreams so that you don't get bullied anymore. I really just want you to quit because it's not worth the pain of getting made fun of and teased by other people. That's what we're literally telling our kids every single day, that we quit because of what other people think of us. Like, why are we such, why are we so terrible at doing for our kids what we ask them to do? And part of it is because we're human. We all do it. I'm not like saying it to make anyone feel bad. Like, we all do it. But my point is, we got to stop it. We got to decide to live our lives the way we're trying to teach our kids how to live their lives. Because in reality, unfortunately, we pass along what we do, not what we say. Again, we all have areas to work on. I brought up mine earlier. We all have areas to work on. But let's work on them. And affirmations is one of the best ways to do that. Because every single time you say that thing, it starts programming that as your new default. And then when you start to think the other thing, this other thing pops up. See, if you have nothing to combat it with, it pops up and you're done for, right? But if instead you have some ammo, this thing pops up, consciously you start to think of this thing instead, and this thing kind of starts to go away. Even if it takes a little bit of time, maybe 5 or 6 times, over time, this thing just stops showing up altogether. And this is the thing that is just, again, your concrete, it's your new normal. So you got to ask yourself, is what I want 10 years from now worth taking the time to say something a couple times a day to get a new concrete in my life? And it's honestly that simple. It's not that easy, right? But it is that simple. One of the new things I do is I have 2 affirmations that I say every time I go pee. Because used to I checked my likes on Instagram. Like, do I really need to know every time I pee if I got 5 new likes? Or can I use this time to say an affirmation? And honestly, in just like 2 or 3 weeks of time, I mean, that's a lot of affirmation. That's a lot of reprogramming going into work instead of checking likes. And that's the thing, is most of us do busy work, not productive work. So, last thing I want to say, and we'll be done. I know it gets a little lengthy. She didn't really give me like specifics. I just like did whatever I wanted to do. I hope she was okay with it.
No, you're good.
The last thing I want to just challenge you with, when you go through this notebook, which you all do, correct?
Yeah.
When you go through it and you're setting goals for the year and you're thinking about what you want this year, remove what you did or didn't do in 2018 and instead ask yourself, where do I want to be 10 years from now? And I want you to set your goals for this year with the fuel and the fire of where you want to be 10 years from now, not with the disappointment of what you did or didn't just do. Not with whether or not you got active coaches, not with whether or not you have leaders or anything else on your team. I just want you to set, based on 10 years from now, what do I need to do this year to put myself on track for what I really want? And then just remember, you always hold the pen as long as you want to. You can literally have anything you want in life if you just decide to write it down and become the author of that. We get one life. Don't let anyone else be the author in your life. Go get what you want. So that when you're old and saggy and disgusting and laying in bed with somebody giving you a bath because you can't move anymore, you look back and you think, that was a cool life. I got everything I wanted, and I passed along. More importantly, I passed along everything that I wanted. All right? Back to you.
Oh, yes. So I just feel like that gives us a good leeway into our book. He talked a lot about 10 years. I want us all to go through and really just fill out this booklet and set goals based off the different areas of our life. That way we don't get into this burnout phase, or that we really are taking that time to help our relationships, our mindset, and our wellness, but also with our business. So I want us all to go through this booklet and do that. And then at the, let's see, I don't know what page it is. At the this page where it has us label what we need to do each month. Take those business goals, and I want you to reverse engineer that and go, okay, what do I need to do in January to make that 10-year goal happen? What do I need to do in February? What Success Club points do I need to achieve? How many new people do I need to bring onto my team? What do I need to do? If a relationship, if it's one night a week, date nights, what night are you going to schedule in to make that a date night? So I want you to take this. I want you to fill it out. And then we'll do some sort of like post in the team page when everybody's got it done. Cool? Thanks for hanging. There's still 23 people on. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you guys. Let me look through here the comments. Oh, I love that people played along.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you had a bunch.
They put in the
That's
in
cool.
10 years I want to.
That's cool. I love it.
Ah, any way I can save these comments? When I
There's
save-
a way to save the chat with the recording,
Okay.
It's a PDF.
but I don't know how to do it. I was trying to figure it out the other day.
It's a PDF.
Just copy yours. Yeah. And put the recording. It'll have a PDF.
Okay, well, thanks, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for joining us.
That's awesome.
Do I do something special when I?
I've honestly never clicked on my PDF.
Is it recording?
It is.
So, you mean when you get the Zoom link? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, when you go into Zoom and my recording.
Oh, okay, yeah.